It's cardigan time. Do you know what that means? That means it's time for back to school. Teachers, you know what I mean. So, click that like button and that subscribe button, and I will be more than happy to show you how to make these adorable crochet earrings to get you ready for the first day of school. These are perfect for our teachers going back to school. So click that like button and the subscribe button and hang out with me today so I can show you how to make them. So let's get started on making these cute little pencil earrings. This is the first one done. Here's one of my let me show you some processes. Here's some prototypes that I made before getting it nailed down. I had to come up with a way to secure the eye pin inside. So I'm going to show you that. It's kind of just me, for lack of a better word, jerry-rigging an idea because I couldn't find a piece that would work that I was thinking of. So here's my layout of what we're going to need. Firstly, here, let's go with the tools. We have a 1.25 millimeter hook. I bought them as a set of 4 from Amazon. They start at 1.0 and then 1.25 and then 1.5 and 1.75. I have my jewelry tools. Okay, so if you guys watched my other most recent earring tutorial for 4th of July, I was missing my tools. No, so these blue ones here come in this handy case, which I think is beadalon, which I love. Comes in this handy case. I couldn't find it anywhere. Lo and behold, turns out I knew they were unpacked when I moved in at some point a year ago, but who knows where they went. Well, my daughter found them in her closet when she was cleaning the other day, so yay her. All right, so these are tools that we need. I'm going to move them aside. So, sorry, I use this round one because I'm going to have to wrap one of these eye pins. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that here in a second. Put that over there. Put that over there. I use these two for cutting the eye pin and also for gripping for the tiny little jump rings. Okay. That probably is what, 3 millimeters, 2.5, 3. I use the fish ear wires. So I have one of these. Then you can use whatever you have, but I'm going to use these little silver bead, 1 silver bead per earring, and I'll explain that to you in just a moment on how that works. Tools are there. My scissors, tools, obviously a sewing needle to weave in our ends so they're not an ugly mess like this. Put that over here. And then lastly, our crochet thread. So as like last time, I love this box, guys. This is an amazing thing. Hobby Lobby has these. I looked online still. They still have them. They're on sale. $18.99 for this set of 30, I believe it is. Yep, 30. They're only 10 gram spools, and that's fine because I'm only doing tiny little projects. Now, if I was constantly using crochet thread, then I would buy bigger ones, but I don't use crochet thread all the time. So I don't want to go buy the big ones and then have, where am I going to put them? Like I have other yarn that takes up all my space. So these are gorgeous. Look at all these fabulous colors. So today we are going to be using Tropical Pink for the eraser. The pencil is the Gold Dust. The metal banding around between the eraser and pencil is Cloud, that light gray color. And then we have, for the sharpened part of the pencil, is Eggnog. Can you see that? Come on, there it is, Eggnog. And then lastly, we have the lead part, which is going to be Pewter. Okay, so I'll pull those out. Put this away. Move this over here so it's out of the way. And then we're going to start this process. Okay. Starting with the pink. Let me zoom in a little so you guys can see a little bit better. Because this is going to be tiny. Actually, before I start this, let me get over here to my little creation on how to get this eye pin inside the end of the earring. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense. You just stick that in, but the problem is you can't just stick that in there because it can pull out, right? So I needed to make a stopper of sorts, okay? So that's what I did. So I took this guy right here like this, put the bead on there, and then I don't remember what these are called, guys. Please forgive me. If you know, please put it in the comments. Jewelry making was kind of a little, I did a short stint of it a couple years ago. So I don't have all of the basics and all of the extras down. But what I'm going to do is twist this around. Okay, so I'm going to just wrap this around. If I'm doing this wrong, I'm so sorry. Like I said, this has not been a skill that I have mastered yet in the jewelry making arena. So everything's an experiment at this point. It's okay, right? Okay, so I just want a little loop stopper so that the bead doesn't come off. So now I'm going to kind of smush this down. And then I'm gonna cut this. There we go. To get a better angle so you guys can see what I'm doing. I kind of want to get that smooth a little bit so it's not, so it's not pointy so much. I'm not opposed to smushing it either. There we go. Okay, so there it is. My little catch that goes inside. All right. That's it for the tools until the end when we have to put everything back together. So starting out with the pink, we need to do a magic ring. Okay, magic ring. In case anybody's unsure how to do this, you start with the short end in the front, wrap it around your finger or fingers. I use one finger for the crochet thread. Like if I'm doing regular yarn, I will do 2 fingers. But if I do 2, it ends up being so much waste, and I don't want to do that. Besides, this is small. Okay, so 1, and then cross it over. Put your hook underneath. Grab the thread and pull up a loop. And then make like a chain. Come on. I've been working with regular yarn for the past couple of days, so I have to work again at this. It's kind of a learning curve with the smallers. Okay, there it is. And then I wrap around my pinky finger and then twice around my index finger when I'm using smaller yarns and or thread, because I just need more tension. Okay, so then I'm going to single crochet 4. Goodness, forgive me. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to pull this a little bit, but not all the way, because I want to get at least a row in there before I put my my eye loop thingy in there. So now I'm going to slip stitch to the beginning first single crochet. This one's hard for me to find sometimes, so bear with me. Mine of you. There it is. Okay, so there it is. I want to make sure there's still some opening in the middle here so that I can get that other bead dealy through. Okay, slipped, and now chain 1. Now we are going to single crochet 2 in each. So in the same one, because we're increasing, single crochet 2. So 1, 2. Now in the next, 3, 4. In the next, 5, 6, and the last one. Sometimes I have to search for it. There it is. 7, 8. Now we're slip stitching to the beginning again. There it goes, and then chain 1. Okay, so now we're only doing 3 rows of this pink. So now I'm going to see if I can get this in here. This is the tricky part. But the earring needs somewhere to hold on to. So I have to find a reason. If you know a better way to do this, please, please, please comment and let me know, because this isn't my favorite, but it works. Okay, so now I'm pulling the tail from the magic circle, okay? In case you're wondering. All right, there we go. One more row of 8 single crochets. Now I'm going to be leaving tails because I'm not putting any stuffing in here. They are going to be the stuffing. Right, I need to see where I'm at. There it is. The first couple rows are difficult to establish and to see, but once you get past them, it gets easier. Okay, so come on, buddy. Oh, goodness. Like I said, relearning the small hook and the small thread. Let's still in view. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now we're going to slip stitch over here. Where's the beginning? Okay. Now we're going to change colors. Pull that longer loop there to make it easier and it doesn't come out. I'm going to show you how to easily change colors. Okay. All right. So next up, let me cut these ends. Okay, so our next color, we are going to do the, where'd my earring go? We're going to do the metal band here. Yeah, okay. So we need my light gray, which is cloud. And all we're doing is 1 row of this. Where is the end? So to change colors, what we need to do is go back through the loop from our slip stitch into the first single crochet loops on top there. Okay. So then now we'll just pull the new color through. And then I like to do my chain 1 that we need. And then I'm going to start let me show you that again. I'm worried that it was not in view. Okay, so in those 2 loops, pull in the thread through. Listen here, thread. Pull through. There we go. And now chain 1. And I'm going to immediately start my first single crochet because I want to grab the tail from the gray and the pink tail that's left over from this here. So that's my 1. And then 2. And that should be stable. So now I'm going to pull my loop here. One of these 2. There it is. And then there you go. You have an invisible join. So that was 2. So I'm just going to keep moving these guys around to the back while I go around. It does get tedious with that in the middle. However, it gets much easier as you go along. 3, once you get past it. 4, 5, and seriously, if you know of a way to do this differently that's better, please share. I would be elated to know. Come on, buddy. You're in my way. Seven, and here's 8. Now slip stitch to the first single crochet. And we're going to change colors to the pencil color, which is yellow. So it's the same process. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off so it's not pulling at me. And then put this color away. Just keep it neat and tidy. Put it on that side. Okay, here we go. Okay, same drill. Go through the loop here. And then through the single crochet top here. Come on, where are you? You're getting messy. Sometimes it's easy to do this, and at this second, it's being difficult. I promise, it's not always like this. Okay, made it through. Woohoo! And just like before, I'm going to connect it, pull it through, and pull it through. And something about this yellow thread just does not. There we go. Now chain 1. And then single crochet in the same stitch. And again, I'm going to sandwich those colors. 1, 2. Now I can pull this cloud color nice and tight. And there it is. Okay, so now we have 6 more to go. This is 7 and 8. Okay, and then slip stitch to the first. And chain 1. And then continue this process 8 single crochets for 6 more rows, a total of 7 rows. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that up, and I will be back when I am probably on row 6, so that you can see how easy it gets once we get past the center thing. Okay, so I just finished row 6, and here we are above the insides. If you're looking at this going, Kristen, why do you have all these tails hanging out? They're got to be annoying. You're right, they are. However, there's no stuffing for these. They're so tiny, so I use the tail ends to stuff inside and give it more stability. That's why they're there. So I just work around them, moving them around as I go. So I am here at the end of row 6, ready for row 7 and chain 1. Do 8 single crochets. And as you can see, it's much easier to do once I'm above the center support. I've come to realize that using the thread, I have to use my finger as support much more often than I would with DK or worsted weight or anything else larger in the yarn department. Does that seem to be the same for those of you who work with all kinds of sizes, or is it just a me thing? Okay, there it is, 8, and we're gonna slip stitch and leave this long tail because we're changing color. But before we do that, I want to stuff some of these guys in here. Now, if you're using the standard fully aluminum metal crochet hook, you can use the butt end of that. It fits perfectly down in here to push these guys in. Since I don't have that today, I'm going to use this tool. It works just fine. I want to hold this one out of the way so I don't accidentally push it in there. So using these ends to stuff this gives it much more shape than if I were to leave them out. The pencil would get flat and funny looking. And who writes with a flat, funny looking pencil? Not me. I mean, they do have flat pencils, don't they? But that's not what we're going for here. And I'm absolutely not worried about how long each of these tails are because it's all going to work out. Okay, pull this up a little bit. So I'm going to leave those like that because as we continue to grow, they will have a place to fit. So, and also by stuffing, it makes this guy more solid in there. Okay, our next color is let me cut this first. Put this one away. Yep. Next color is the sharpened part of the pencil, and that is eggnog. Now this is only 2 rows. So we're almost done. We only have 3 rows left. These guys work up pretty quick once you get the hang of it. Okay, you get the loopy loop, and then through this loopy loop. There we go. Nice. Go over there. Okay. Pull through both. Chain 1, single crochet. Get. Okay. 1, 2. Okay, so now I'm going to pull the yellow, make tight. Ta-da! There it is. So now we have 6 more to go. Then I'm going to do some stuffing. Three, four, 5, 6, 7, and here's 8, and then the slip stitch, the infamous slip stitch. Okay, so I'm going to make a big loop so it doesn't pull out while we stuff. Okay, I am going to cut this yellow one a little shorter because it is a little crazy long. And we don't have a lot of room left. Okay, so this next row is a decreasing row. We're going to use the invisible decrease. If you're not familiar with what that is, it is where you're only using the front loops instead of both loops, so it doesn't get so bulky. Okay, so let me show you. So chain 1. Now we have to grab this front loop here. Come on here, buddy. There it is. And then the next front loop. See, now there's 3 loops there. And then pull through both. And that did not work because, yeah. Okay, buddy. There it is. And then yarn over, single crochet, normal. Okay, so that's 1 decrease and then 1 single. And then another decrease. And then a single. And then finally a decrease. And then slip stitch to the top. If I can find it. Okay, I'm gonna do this and then find it. There it is. Okay. Okay, final color, Ferns. Final color. Got this. We'll wrap it up. And this is pewter for the lead, the graphite color. Where's the end? There you are. This doesn't take much. We're doing 1 row and it's all decreasing. Where are you, buddy? That's just going to be it. Okay. Final one, guys. Chain one. Now we are slip stitching all the way around. I mean, not slip stitching, I'm sorry. Invisible decreasing all the way around. My apologies if it's difficult to see. It is difficult for me to see. To be honest with you. Okay, there's one. Let me pull this guy so it's out of my way. It should be 3 stitches because we should be down to 6. Oh, come on, dude. Crazy. I just did this the other day and it was not this difficult. Acting out for the camera, I tell you. Just incredible. Okay, so I'm gonna, yep, here we go. Over here. See that okay? Trying to make sure my fingers aren't blocking everything. It's just so difficult. All right, there it is. So now the slip stitch. Where are you? Ay, ay, ay. I'll tell you what, this is making me mad. We're gonna get it, guys. Move out of the way. Come on. And then there's my cat at the door who wants to be a part of this. If you can hear him. There it is. Okay, thank goodness. All right, I'm gonna cut this tail. I'm gonna pull this out. And then what we're gonna do is take these guys and feed them back this way to weave them in with the needle. So what I like to do is I always like to kind of thread the needle in first where I want it to go. And then I put the thread in. We're going to start with the 2 pieces that are the tails from the join. Okay, so that went through. I'm going to trim it once I get done with all of them. Okay, sometimes this is easier than others. There it is. Okay, make sure our shape is good. And now here's the end. So how I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this in a way that kind of keeps the integrity of a point. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to come up all the way at the top, like that. There it is, and pull it down. I'm going to be careful because I want that point to stay up there the best way possible. Look at that. See? This pencil has been used. All right, so now it's time to trim these guys out. So I'm going to pull them just a tiny bit to scrunch, and then I pull this back down, and as you see, it disappears inside there. Disappear. Ta-da! There they are. Ba-ba. Okay, what do you think? There it is. Now we just need to put our jump ring on and our earring hook. Okay, that guy's a little bit tiny. We're going to make it happen. Okay, tools. So if you've not used jump rings before, they have a little opening in them. I don't know if you can see that. And what you want to do is just bend them this way, like twist. You don't want to pull them apart like this. That messes with the integrity of the metal, and then they will break. And that is not what you want. Okay, so I'm hooking that on. And then I'm hooking this guy on, like so. You see? And then I just twist them back the way that they were. Ta-da! You could use some jewelry glue to secure that if you'd like. And there it is. There's the first one, the second earring, excuse me. And then here's his partner. Aren't they cute? Oh, there it goes. Okay, I'm gonna clean this up and I will see you in a minute. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I enjoyed making these with you. It was a lot of fun. Go ahead and tag your favorite teachers in the comments and share them this video. You never know, they might be absolutely thrilled to get some earrings like this for back to school. So again, like and subscribe so that you can be in the up and up on all my future videos that come out. And I look forward to reading all of your comments to let me know your favorite things and what you may or may not, what you may be interested in the future to see. And I look forward to our next video together. And thanks again for hanging out with me today.